Dragons have long been included in the ranks of legendary animals that are very famous in the world. Most dragons are depicted with the figure of a giant snake that is able to fly. But how did this dragon legend appear in the world? Watch this video till the end. The word dragon first entered the English language in the 13th century, derived from the Latin draconis and the Greek drakons. One of the earliest depictions portrayed dragons as giant snakes in the mythologies of the ancient Near East, particularly in Mesopotamian art and literature, where dragon-like creatures are described in the Epic of Creation, the Enuma Elish, from the late 2nd millennium BC. Other draconic creatures, the Basmu and Usumbel, also appear in text from the Akkadian period, with the most recognized being the Muma, meaning reddish snake or fierce snake, depicted on the Ishtar Gate at the city of Babylon. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Apep or Apophis is a giant serpentine creature who resides in the realm of the dead or below the horizon. First mentioned during the 8th dynasty, 2181 BC to 2160 BC, Apep was born from Ra's umbilical cord and was the opponent of Light and Mut, locked in epic duels through the ages with Ra. Nihaepko is another giant serpent who guards the Duat and aided Ra in his battle against Apep. Although originally considered an evil spirit, he later functions as a funerary god associated with the afterlife and one of the 42 assessors of Ma'at. The enigmatic Book of the Netherworld, an ancient Egyptian funerary text found in the tomb of Tutankhamun, depicts the Ouroboros, an ancient symbol showing a serpent or dragon eating its own tail. The symbol persisted in Egypt into Roman times, when it frequently appeared on magical talismans, sometimes in combination with other magical emblems. In Zoroastrian literature from Iran and Persia, dragons such as Azi-Dahaka, meaning Avestan Great Snake, were seen as the personification of sin and greed. In Persian Sufi literature, Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi also suggests that dragons symbolize the sensual soul, greed and lust, that needs to be mortified in a spiritual battle. Dragons, ancient Greek, drakons, played a significant role in ancient Greek mythology, often appearing with a poisonous spit, although fiery breath is attested in several myths. Some depictions also show the Dracaena, a female serpent with several features of a human woman. Many Greek heroes fought or encountered draconic creatures. Heracles slayed the Lernaean Hydra, Jason drugged a sleepless dragon guarding the Golden Fleece, Zeus battled the monster Typhon, and Cadmus fought the dragon of Ares. The Romans had little interest in developing new dragon, Latin, draconis, traditions of their own, mainly adapting the mythology of the ancient Greeks to suit their needs. During the 2nd century AD, after the Dacian Wars, the Roman military used the Draco as their military standard of the cohort, as the eagle, Aquila, was that of the legion. In Asia, notably China, dragons, Chinese, long, were associated with good fortune and would traditionally symbolize potent and auspicious powers. Dragons would often accompany gods and demigods as their personal mounts or companions, while Chinese emperors would use a dragon symbol to project his imperial strength. The earliest draconic zoomorphic depictions date from the Xinglongwa culture between 6200 to 5400 BC, while the Hongshan culture may have introduced the Chinese character for dragon between 4700 to 2900 BC. The traditional image of the Chinese dragon appeared during the Shang, 1766 to 1122 BC, and Zhou, 1046 BC, 256 BC, dynasties, evolving into the Yinglong, a winged dragon that the scholar, Chen Zhang, proposes is the origin of the image of the real dragon. Artistic creations would evolve Yinglong to have flame or cloud patterns instead of wings, eventually replacing Yinglong with the image of a wingless yellow dragon in Chinese art forms. A cosmological diagram of the dragon god presents the concept of dragons in Chinese culture and the cosmological Sihai Longwang dragon, king of the four seas. Each dragon king is associated to a color and a body of water, with the azure dragon or blue-green dragon representing the east and the essence of spring, the red dragon the south and the essence of summer, the black dragon the north and the essence of winter, the white dragon the west and the essence of autumn, and then there's the yellow dragon, who is the zoomorphic incarnation of the yellow emperor. It is most likely that the Chinese dragon influenced many Asian countries, with Korea dragons being depicted with longer beards and sometimes shown carrying a giant orb known as the Uaju. Korean mythology describes dragons originating from serpent-like proto-dragons called amugis, that aspired to become a true dragon if it caught a Uaju which had fallen from heaven. In Japan, dragon legends are heavily intertwined with Chinese dragons, even using Chinese loanwords for dragon names. It is believed that Buddhist monks from across Asia transmitted dragon and snake legends from Buddhist and Hindu mythology to Japan, although there are some examples of indigenous dragons described in ancient texts such as the Kojiki and Nihongi. In Philippine mythology, Bakunawa, meaning bent snake, is a serpent-like dragon believed to be the cause of eclipses, earthquakes, rains, and wind. Bakunawa is also sometimes known as Naga, from syncretization with the Hindu-Buddhist serpent deity, Naga. It was also syncretized with the Hindu-Buddhist Navagraha pair, Rahu and Ketu, deities who were responsible for eclipses of the sun and moon, respectively. Many Philippine serpents were associated with swallowing the moon, with legends of Lao, a serpent from Kapampangan mythology, Alama, a winged phantom dragon serpent from Ilocano mythology, and Sawa, a serpent monster from Tagalog and Adi mythologies. India also has its own dragon legends. The Rigveda, an ancient Indian collection of Vedic Sanskrit hymns, describes how Indra, the Vedic god of storms, would battle a giant serpent called Vritra. The people of the Americas created their own draconic legends, completely independent from the rest of the world. The Yucatec Maya worshipped Kukulkan, a Mesoamerican serpent deity whose origins come from the Classic period, later adopted by the post-classic Kitsch Maya as Cucumats. The Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl, whose name comes from the Nahuatl language and means precious serpent or Quetzal-feathered serpent. Xiacotl, translated as turquoise serpent in classical Nahuatl, was another serpent deity who was the Aztec fire god interpreted as the embodiment of the dry season and was the weapon of the sun. In mythology of Andean civilizations of South America, the Amaruca or Kadari is a mythical serpent or dragon, most associated with the Tiwanaku and Inca empires. In Inca mythology, Amaruca is a huge double-headed serpent that dwells underground at the bottom of lakes and rivers. Several dragons also appear in the cultures of indigenous American peoples. In the mythology of the Illini people, murals painted on bluffs overlooking the Mississippi River depict the Piasa bird, a draconic figure that may have been an older iconograph from the large Mississippian culture city of Cahokia. One of the most common forms of Native American dragons, a recurring figure among many indigenous tribes of the southeast woodlands and other tribal groups, is the horned serpent, associated with water, rain, lightning, and thunder. The modern image of a dragon developed in Europe during the Middle Ages through the combination of the snake-like dragons of classical Greco-Roman literature, references to Near Eastern European dragons preserved in the Bible, and European folk traditions. The 11th and 13th centuries saw the height of European interest in dragons as living creatures. The oldest recognizable image of a fully modern European dragon appears in a hand-painted illustration from the medieval manuscript MS Harley 3244, which was produced around AD 1260.